Most people over 60 step into a new year believing one quiet lie, that next year will somehow be different on its own. That time will slow down, that habits will change naturally, that health, energy, and connection will improve without a deliberate shift. But what if the reason last year felt the way it did has nothing to do with bad luck or aging and everything to do with a pattern that has been forming for decades? Here's the mystery most seniors sense but rarely name. Every January brings hope, yet by spring, life looks strangely familiar. The same routines, the same aches, the same empty hours, the same promises postponed. Something is missing from the story we tell ourselves about time, aging, and change, and until it's exposed, each new year quietly becomes a repeat of the last. To understand why, we have to step back into science and history. Aging research didn't always focus on decline. In the mid-20th century, studies from Harvard and the National Institute on Aging began tracking adults across their entire lifespan. One key turning point came when researchers realized that outcomes after 65 weren't random. They were predictable. The seeds were planted much earlier. The origins of this issue begin in early adulthood. In your 20s and 30s, life rewards momentum. Effort leads to visible results. Careers grow. Relationships expand. The brain is highly adaptable, and the body forgives inconsistency. Cause: rapid feedback. Effect: people learn to rely on urgency instead of systems. Habits are optional because time feels abundant. Then the 40s arrive, and changes start quietly. According to American Psychological Association data, stress hormones remain elevated longer after setbacks. Recovery takes more time. Responsibilities increase while reflection decreases. People start living on autopilot not because they choose to, but because the system demands it. Cause: chronic busyness. Effect: intentional living slowly disappears. By the time most people reach their 50s, routines are deeply set. The CDC reports that over 60% of adults at this stage repeat the same daily patterns year after year with minimal variation. These patterns feel safe, familiar, but they also quietly lock in future outcomes. The shift after 65 is where the real danger hides. Retirement removes external structure, but few replace it with internal structure. A National Institute on Aging survey found that nearly half of retirees report feeling unanchored within the first 2 years, not depressed, not unhappy, just directionless. Cause: loss of schedule. Effect: time begins to blur. This is where most people misunderstand what's happening. They think boredom is the problem, or loneliness, or aging itself. But the real issue is compression. Days start to feel shorter, not because there's less time, but because less meaning is packed into them. Neuroscience shows that novelty and purpose slow perceived time. Routine speeds it up. Then comes the breaking point: a health scare, a fall, a sudden loss. Or sometimes nothing dramatic at all, just the realization that another year vanished without leaving a mark. Medicare utilization data shows a spike in doctor visits, sleep complaints, and anxiety reports in the first quarter of each year among adults over 65. The calendar flips, but life doesn't. The fallout touches everything. Health declines faster when days lack structure. Studies from Johns Hopkins show that inconsistent daily routines are linked to higher inflammation and poorer sleep in seniors. Financial habits drift without goals. Social circles shrink when no effort pulls people outward. Lifestyle narrows, not because options disappear, but because initiative does. So what do seniors try to fix it? The failed fixes rooted in old advice? They make resolutions that rely on willpower. They promise big changes without small systems. They wait for motivation to appear. Behavioral science is clear. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. Yet every year, the same approach is repeated. Here's the twist most people never hear. The new year doesn't change outcomes. Systems do. The American Time U survey shows that adults over 65 who anchor just to daily rituals, one physical, One social reports significantly higher life satisfaction and slower cognitive decline. Not dramatic overhauls, small, repeatable actions. This pattern repeats across millions of seniors in the United States. Those who redesign their days experience different years. Those who don't experience repeats with new dates attached. And this brings us back to today. If you don't decide how this year will be spent, it will default to last year's blueprint. Not because you failed, but because the brain loves efficiency, even when it costs you time. So, what can you do right now? First, choose one daily anchor that starts your day the same way, every day. Not for productivity, but for identity. This tells your brain who you are now. Second, schedule connection before loneliness appears. One standing weekly interaction call, walk, coffee reduces isolation more effectively than spontaneous plans. Third, track experiences, not time. Write down one thing each day that made the day different. This alone has been shown to slow perceived time and increase life satisfaction. Here's one clear warning based on evidence. Letting days remain unstructured after 65 significantly accelerates cognitive and emotional decline, even in physically healthy adults. And here's the open thought to hold on to. If time feels faster every year, what would happen if you made this one intentionally heavier with meaning? If this message resonated, please like and share it with someone who says, "Where did the year go?" And subscribe for the next chapter, because next, we'll explore the one habit that separates seniors who feel stuck from those who feel alive, no matter their age.